In this video, we're going to look at a new control structure, the switch statement. The switch statement is a lot like the if, then, else if, else statement. So we're going to walk through this example, and then as an exercise, you'll convert this example to an if, then, else statement. So looking at this code, we have a couple of variables defined, and then depending on the level, it just prints out a message. So we can explore that a little bit. So right now it's set to level equals 2. So when we go through the switch statement, it'll print that second level message. Let's walk through it briefly and then we'll visualize it. So the switch statement is defined using the switch keyword. And what you put into the parentheses isn't actually a condition. It's actually an expression that gets evaluated. And that can be evaluated to a number or a string. Those are the two most common. So when it gets evaluated to an expression, and then the case phrases actually tell you what to do for each, for whichever expression value it is. So in this case, this switch statement handles 3 possible levels, 1, 2, or 3, and then there's a default case. The way it works is after it evaluates the expression, it goes through each case statement until it finds the one that matches. It's a specific match, and then it starts executing that code from there on. Notice that at the end of each case phrase, there's a break statement. That tells JavaScript, okay, I'm done with the switch statement now, break out of that, so it'll go all the way down here and it'll continue executing. There's also a default value which you can use if none of the other cases match. So let's run this a couple of times and see what happens. So here's our visualizer. So if we go run the code, we initialize a few values there, and then switch on level evaluates to 2. So notice it jumps down to the 2 case and it's executing that code. So it's got a message, it sets the message variable at that point, and now it hits the break statement and it'll jump down and execute the console log message. And there you have it out there. So that's what happens with the level equal 2. Well, let's see what happens if we set it to a level 5, which isn't handled by any of the existing cases. You want to make a guess what happens? So we'll go run the code, hit initialize level to 5. Now, switches on level, boom, jumps down to the default phrase and executes that code there. The message, sets the message, break, and then logs the message. Now, so that sort of makes sense. I want to point out one other important thing. These break statements are really important. So if you take the break statements out, JavaScript will just keep running. So let's switch this back to the original value of level equal 2. And this time let's comment out that break statement and notice what happens. We'll visualize that and we'll go to run it. Boom, boom, initialize to level equal 2. Switch on level. Since level is 2, it's going to jump down to the case 2. It's going to assign a value to message. But notice what happens. Since it didn't hit the break statement, it just kept going. So now it's going to assign a new value to message, and then it'll hit this break statement and execute that. So if you forget to put a break statement after each of your cases, you're likely to have some unexpected behaviors. Okay, so now you've seen the case statement as we walked through it. You should see how this maps pretty well to our if, then, else if statements. So you can test the first case as the if, and then the else if as the case the second case as the else if, and the third case as an else if, and then the default value will correspond with the else clause of the if statement. So go ahead and try that.